We start off Friday Night Smackdown for June 20th, 2025 with LA Knight coming out to the ring. He then talks about Money in the Bank, where Seth Rollins' boys made their way out and screwed LA Knight. Knight then says he usually lets things slide, but he couldn't let that slide as he had to screw one of Rollins' boys out of King of the Ring. Knight then says they also screwed him out of King of the Ring. Then he screwed the other one out of King of the Ring. And it got him thinking, there is only one way this can go. Knight then says, Raw, Smackdown, where it ends, nobody knows except him. Knight then says, where it ends with him and Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth freaking Rollins. Knight then says, what better place than here, and what better place than now. Knight then calls Rollins out to the ring. Hall of Famer Paul Heyman comes to the ring and introduces him as the wise man for the Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins. The fans then boo Heyman. Heyman tells them not to boo him. Knight asks Heyman why is he out here tonight, and Heyman asks Knight if he can get in the ring. The fans then chant OTC for Roman Reigns, and Knight tells him to get in the ring. Heyman then says Knight is right, and there has been a lot of bad blood between himself and Seth freaking Rollins. Then we get a pump chant from the ring. Knight then tells Heyman he has a lot of enemies. Heyman then tells Knight that he happens to be, with all due respect to everyone, the biggest LA Knight fan of them all. And he has been waiting a long time to say this. Heyman then yells, yeah! And because of that, Rollins has allowed him to tell Knight that it's time for him to get the hell out of Michigan. The fans then boo, and Heyman says if he doesn't, something really bad's gonna happen. Well, Knight does not get out of Michigan, and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker come to the ring. They both try to ambush LA Knight, but LA Knight grabs a steel chair and hits one of them with it. They both scatter and say that we will finish this on our time. Next, we have our first official match for this Friday Night Smackdown for the Queen of the Ring tournament. The winner goes to the final. The Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, versus Alexa Bliss. The match starts with Bliss clenching in a headlock, but Asuka sends her to the ropes, and both women hit shoulder tackles on one another. Asuka then delivers some right hands on Bliss and goes for a kick, but Bliss catches her and trips her. Bliss then hits a drop kick on Asuka, and both women are back to their feet. Asuka then hits a running shoulder tackle on Bliss and gets on the ring apron. Asuka then hits her famous running hip attack on Bliss that knocks her down. Bliss then delivers some right hands of her own and a knee to Asuka's face. Bliss then goes for a cover, but Asuka kicks out. Bliss then grabs Asuka, but Asuka delivers some forearms and kicks on Bliss. Then follows up with her famous German suplex. Asuka then hits a fierce running knee to the face of Bliss and goes for a cover, but Bliss kicks out. Asuka then goes for a kick, but Bliss ducks and rolls her up. but Asuka kicks out. Bliss then goes for her finisher, Sister Abigail, but Asuka rolls her up and Bliss kicks out. Asuka then hits a kick to the side of Bliss's head, but Bliss kicks out. Asuka then climbs the top rope and goes for a drop kick, but Bliss moves out of the way. Bliss then hits a DDT on Asuka and goes for the cover. 1, 2, kick out by Asuka. Bliss then climbs to the top rope and goes for Twisted Bliss, but thinks about it and thinks that Asuka is playing possum. Bliss jumps down. Bliss then tells Asuka not to move, but Asuka clenches in an armbar. Bliss then rolls Asuka up, but Asuka kicks out. Asuka then hits a hangman neckbreaker on Bliss. Asuka then goes for the cover. 1, 2, but Bliss kicks out. Bliss then runs to the ropes and hit a vicious right hand to Asuka. Bliss then places Asuka in a tree of woe with Asuka upside down and hits a drop kick to Asuka's face. Bliss then kicks the top rope and goes for Twisted Bliss a second time. She hits it, but Asuka's knees were up. Asuka then goes for a Empress impact and hits it. 1, 2, 3. Asuka wins the match and is headed to Night of Champions for the final match for the Queen of the Ring tournament. We start off the next segment with Cody Rhodes' music hitting, and he makes his way down to the ring. Rhodes plays to the crowd and is about to speak, but he is interrupted by Jey Uso's entrance music. Jey Uso makes his way to the ring through the crowd and does his yeet routine, and Rhodes smiles as he watches Uso continue to make his routine. Rhodes and Uso then hug the crowd once more, so Uso gives them an encore. Uso's song is cut off and Uso tells Rhodes that they are in the trenches. They have both been to the mountaintop. Uso then tells Rhodes that this Monday there is only room for one of them. Uso then says he knows Rhodes will bring it. Uso then says it's not personal, it is business. Uso then says, with that being said, on Monday night, after they go to war, it's going to be 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. Zayn comes out and says this is nice, seeing Uso and Rhodes in the same ring at the same time with him, to share the ring with 2 friends, 2 of the very best this business has to offer. Zayn then says he would be lying if he said there was a part of him that said he was not aware that out of the 3 of them, he is the only one that has never won a world championship. Zayn then tells Uso this year he had to miss WrestleMania and he got his ass on a plane for one reason, and that was to congratulate Jey Uso as he won the title. Zayn says he tells Uso that he loves him and he is proud of him. Zayn then tells Cody Rhodes that for years they've waited for him to finish his story, and when he did, he was the first one to run through the ropes and congratulate him. Zayn then tells them both that he hopes they understand now it is time for him to finish his story. Randy Orton's music then hits and he makes his way down to the ring. Orton tells Rhodes that there is no line that he won't cross, even if it means going through him. to face the 17-time champion John Cena at SummerSlam. Orton then tells Uso that he respects him and the families go way back and he has nothing but love. But if Uso is standing in front of him, it will be 3 words, 1 move. RKO. Orton then says he can speak for himself. Cody, Jay, and everyone in the arena will know that Sami Zayn will be world champion soon. Orton then says SummerSlam is not that day because tonight he will be on the receiving end of the 3 most devastating words in sports entertainment. The devastating RKO. Next, we have the King of the Ring Tournament semifinal round match. The Viper Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. The winner goes to Night of Champions to take on Jey Uso or the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. The match starts off with Zayn hitting some chops on Orton in the corner, but Orton moves out of the way and leaves the ring. Orton then gets back in the ring and pushes Zayn in the corner. Orton then hits a thumb to the eye of Sami Zayn's eyes and the referee didn't see it. Orton then delivers some right hands on Zayn and Zayn pokes Orton in the eye and he sends Orton out to the outside. Zayn is on the ring apron, but Orton trips him up and he grabs Zayn. Orton then slams Zayn onto the announce desk. The fans then chant one more time and Orton lifts Zayn up and slams him onto the announce desk a second time. Zayn then hits a clothesline on Orton. Zayn then climbs to the second rope and hits a double axe handle. Zayn then goes for his famous Blue Thunder Bomb, but Orton lands on his feet and hits a clothesline. Zayn then goes to the ropes and Orton hits his famous, impactful snap power slam. Zayn rolls out to the ring apron and Orton drags him onto the second rope and hits his famous draping DDT. Orton is about to go for his RKO, but Zayn rolls out of the ring. Orton then goes to the outside and slams Zayn's face into the announce desk. Orton then goes to slam Zayn onto the announce desk, but Zayn lands on his feet and slams Orton onto the desk. Zayn then sends Orton back into the ring and Orton goes for a spear in the corner, but Zayn moves out of the way and Orton hits shoulder first into the ring, metal part of the ring, and Zayn goes for his Hallelujah kick but gets tied up into the top rope. Orton hits a second snap power slam. Orton goes for the cover. 1, 2, but Zayn kicks out. Orton then goes for the RKO, but Zayn drops and hits his Blue Thunder Bomb. Zayn then goes for the cover. 1, 2, near fall. Orton kicks out. Zayn then climbs the top rope and jumps, but Orton moves and Zayn lands on his feet. Orton then goes for the RKO, but Zayn slams him onto the mat. Zayn then goes for the Hallelujah kick, but Orton hits him with his 3 most devastating words of all in entertainment, RKO. He hits it and goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3, and your winner of the match and heading to the semifinal, Randy freaking Orton, the Viper, the Apex Predator. We then have our next segment. Nia Jax's music hits as she makes her way down to the ring. Jax says it's crazy that Tiffany Stratton approached her to be under her wing because she knew what she could do for her. Jax says Stratton is thriving, but the thanks she got was she got betrayed and Stratton stole her title. Tiffany Stratton's music then hits and she makes her way down to the ring. Stratton tells Jax that she is like a toxic ex he can't get away from. Stratton then tells Jax to get over it, and she keeps making excuses. Stratton then says Jax should admit that she is better than her. Jax then tells Tiffy if she is so much better than her, then why doesn't she get a rematch? Stratton then says she just made it official for next week, and she will have a lot more fun adding more scars to her forehead, and this is a last woman standing match. Jax then goes for a right hand, but Stratton ducks. Stratton then goes to the ropes, but Jax hits her with a vicious spine buster and follows it up with a leg drop. Jax then lifts the title belt in the air with the fans booing her in the background. Miss Money in the Bank, Naomi. Her music hits and out she comes with the referee. Naomi is about to cash in, but Jax pulls her under the ring. Naomi then gets back on the ring apron and Jax drags her back down. Naomi then yells at Jax and gets back on the ring. Stratton then drop kicks Naomi, and Naomi falls onto Jax on the outside of the ring. Stratton then raises her title in the air with her music playing. Stratton then tosses the briefcase to ringside and makes her exit. Next we have a singles match. Charlotte Flair, the Queen, versus Chelsea Green. The match starts off with Green attacking Flair and slamming her face first onto the mat. Green then grabs Flair, but Flair delivers some chops to her chest. Flair then gets on the top rope and hits a crossbody. Flair then goes for the cover, but Green kicks out. Flair then hits a kick to the side of Green's head, and the referee checks on Green. Fire then gets on the ring apron and hangs Flair up on the top rope. Green then slams Flair onto the mat. Green then goes to the cover. 1, 2, but Charlotte kicks out. Flair then hits some chops to the chest of Green and follows it up with a fallaway slam. Flair goes for a famous figure 4, but Fire gets on the ring apron and Flair hits her with a big boot that takes her down. Flair then turns around and Green hits her with a leg lariat. Green then goes for a cover. 1, 2, but Flair kicks out. Green then takes off her protective mask and goes for the unprettier, but Flair pushes Green to the ropes and hits her with a vicious spear. Flair goes for the cover. 1, 2, but Green kicks out. Flair then goes for the pingle 4, but Green rolls her up and Flair kicks out. Flair then gets to her feet and cinches in the figure 8. Green taps out and the referee rings the bell. Your winner of the match, the Queen, Charlotte Flair. After the match, Piper Niven hits a senton on Flair, and Alexa Bliss makes her way out to make the save. Flair and Bliss then attack the Secret Service, and both of them stand in the ring. Flair then walks past Bliss, and Bliss looks furious as Flair's music hits and she leaves the ring. Solo Sikoa's music hits and he heads down to the ring to start the segment. Once Sikoa was in the ring, he tells Jacob Fatu that he is in this ring alone with open arms. Sikoa then asks Fatu to come out so they can clear the air. The WWE United States Champion, the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu, his music hits and he heads down to the ring to join Solo. Sikoa then tells Fatu he didn't come out to fight him. He wants to make it very clear that he loves him. Sikoa then says one thing he learned about being tribal chief was how to love and take care of your family. Sikoa then says that is all he's trying to do. Sikoa then says families fight all the time, and they fight, they argue, they forgive, and they move forward. Sikoa then tells Fatu to move forward together as one. Sikoa then tells Fatu that no one saw the potential in him except for him. Sikoa then says no one wanted him there except him. Sikoa then says that is why he brought him here, gave him the opportunity to change his life and put food on the table for his family. Sikoa then tells Fatu that he did this because he loves him. Sikoa says that is all he needs is for him to tell Fatu that he loves him. Fatu says that is all it comes down to, Sikoa loving him. Fatu then tells him the way that he sees things. He's been using him for fame and for power and to fight his battles, and using him so that he can stay tribal chief. Fatu then says Sikoa brought him in so he could bring him fame and gold. Fatu then tells Sikoa to look at him when he's speaking to him. The fans then chant Fatu and both men are face to face. Fatu then tells Sikoa that ever since he won the United States title, he is acting different. Fatu says maybe he is, but that's not the problem. The problem is the United States title. Fatu then places the title between himself and Sikoa on the mat. Fatu then says that's the reason, and he tells him to fight for it. Fatu then says if Sikoa ever thinks of going his way, he knows what Fatu is all about. But Fatu then says Sikoa knows that he is all gas, no brakes. Sikoa tried to catch him by surprise and hit Fatu with a solo spike, but Fatu blocks it and hits him with a headbutt. JC Mateo then makes his way out, but Fatu hits him with a headbutt. Sikoa then hits him a chop to the knee from behind. Both men double team and jump Jacob Fatu. Jimmy Uso's music then hits and he makes his way down to the ring. Uso then hits a super kick on both JC Mateo and Solo Sikoa. Uso then turns around and Mateo hits him with a clothesline. Fatu then gets to his feet and takes both of them out. Fatu then hits a running hip attack on Sikoa in the corner. Fatu then looks at Uso and they both look at Sikoa. Fatu then climbs to the second rope, but Sikoa rolls to the outside of the ring as Fatu's music hits. Next we have the singles match, the megastar LA Knight versus Big Bronson Reed. The match starts with LA Knight attacking Braun Breaker from behind, who is at ringside. Knight then gets in the ring and sends Reed to the outside. Reed then gets in the ring. Knight then delivers some right hands on Bronson Reed and he gets Reed in the corner and stomps on him. Knight then hits a kick to the face of Reed and he grabs Reed, but Reed sends Knight onto the ring apron. Knight then jumps over the top rope and Reed catches him. Knight then lands on his feet and goes for a jumping neckbreaker, but Reed holds on to the ropes. Reed then goes for a senton, but Knight moves out of the way. Knight is about to go for an elbow, but Reed rolls to the outside of the ring. Knight then hits a baseball slide. Knight then jumps off the second rope and hits a crossbody. Knight then hits a leaping elbow drop. Knight then goes for the cover, but Reed kicks out. Knight then goes for the BFT, blunt force trauma, but Reed hits him in the head with a headbutt and follows it up with a jagged edge. Reed goes for the cover, but Knight kicks out. Reed then lifts Knight up, but Knight reverses it into a DDT. Breaker then gets on the ring apron and Knight knocks him down. Reed is then sent to the outside of the ring. Braun Breaker gets in the ring and hits the spear as the referee calls for the bell. The winner of the match, due to a disqualification, the megastar, L.A. Knight. Yeah. After the match, Breaker runs the ropes and hits Knight with a devastating second spear. Reed then hits 1, 2, 3 tsunamis on Knight. And we see Knight severely hurt afterwards. Now we have John Cena, the WWE Universal Champion, versus R-Truth, or Ron Killings. The match starts with R-Truth hitting a takedown on John Cena, and he follows that up with some right hands, but Cena rolls to the outside of the ring. R-Truth then delivers some more right hands on Cena and slams Cena's face first into the announce table. Truth then grabs Cena and slams him face first into the ring apron, and Cena slides back into the ring. Truth then slams Cena back first into the turnbuckle, and Cena drops to the mat. Cena hits the 5-knuckle shuffle on Truth. Cena goes for an AA, but Truth lands on his feet. Truth then delivers some more right hands to Cena, follows it up with a splash in the corner, and Cena rolls to the outside of the ring. Cena then grabs his title and begins to walk away, but R-Truth chases after him. Truth then delivers some right hands to Cena, and Cena hits him with the title, and the referee calls for the bell. Your winner of the non-title match, Ron R-Truth Killings. After the match, the best in the world, CM Punk, comes to the ring. Cena then delivers some right hands and kicks on Punk, but Punk gets back up and hits Cena with some right hands on his own. Punk then grabs the title and goes to hit Cena with it, but Cena hits Punk with a kick and a low blow. Cena then grabs the title and hits Punk with it in the face. Cena then goes to the outside of the ring and pulls the Slim Jim table from under the ring. Cena then slides the table into the ring and sets it up. Punk then gets up and Cena hits him with the title for a second time. And Cena picks him up, hits Punk with a attitude adjustment through the table. Cena goes to the outside of the ring and grabs a microphone. Cena then gets back into the ring and starts laughing. Cena sits on the top rope and tells Punk that as he lies there in his most uncomfortable position, he hopes he can listen and he can digest this before he leaves here in 6 months with the WWE Championship. He has a lot of stuff to get off his chest. Cena says, first things first, he doesn't hate Punk. Cena doesn't say he doesn't even dislike him. He likes him, and he likes him more than anyone that he has ever shared a locker room with. Cena then says he hates the idea of Punk being the best in the world because he's not. Cena says that he's the greatest of all time. Cena then says, oh no, he just dropped the curse word. Because Punk is the best BSer in the world. Cena then says he's breaking the fourth wall. Cena then says the truth is that he's jealous of Punk. He's jealous that he conned millions and billions of people into believing the myth that he is the best in the world. Cena then says the fans chant for Punk because they sing to him, but they don't believe a word that he says. Cena then says because Punk changes his values as much as Cena changes his t-shirt. Good line. Cena then says Punk is an opportunist over the necks of people who break their necks. Cena then says, hi Claudio Castagnoli, Nick Nemeth, and Matt Cardona. Cena then says there is no one back there that will cut his mic to save his butt because he is his only friend. Cena then asks Punk to remember who gave him the stage for his pipe bomb. Cena then asks Punk what has he done since then. He's just repeated the same 5 promo words of doom. Cena then says Punk is no longer the voice of the voiceless. He is a millionaire despite himself. Cena then says he is not Punk. He is not a capitalist. Cena says he is not against TKO because he is Mr. TKO. Cena then says they knocked his balls technically off his body. Cena then says his tweets are strong and his actions are weak. Cena then says in Saudi Arabia he is going to face some loud music when he proves to the world that each and every day, day in, day off, no days off for 25 years, he is the greatest of all time. The fans then chant Cena and he says the fans know. Cena then says they know that Punk was the best in the world for 7 minutes 14 years ago. Cena then says after Night of Champions, Punk is still delusional enough to believe that he is the best in the world. He guesses it must be a small world after all. Cena then says, you're welcome, Grand Rapids, and the fans cheer. Cena then tells Punk to bring his A game to Night of Champions, because if the mood tonight is any indication, the mood is starting to change. WWE officials make their way out to check on Punk. Cena then says it's fine. He won't do any more damage. Cena then says Punk has a big title match. Cena then says the best in the world will go against the greatest of all time for the most coveted prize in sports entertainment, WWE Undisputed Championship. Cena then says he knows you will sing and chant, but even the idiots are smart enough to see the truth, and that is the champ is here. Cena then raises his title and says, USA, you can keep the next 2.5 minutes. I don't need a bomb. Elvis has left the building. Cena then thanks Punk for letting him steal his promo to make him look even more foolish. Cena's music hits and he climbs the second rope, raising the title in the air as fans cheer. Cena then walks off to the stage and blows a kiss like that as the show comes to a close. And that's the end of Smackdown. Let me know what you think. Personally, 10 out of 10. Best Smackdown I have seen in a long time. Thank you, Cena. Thank you, everybody who participated. Until next time, you can't see me, and yeet.